he got a rash on his arm, and he wasn't really sure what it was, and maybe he was just kind of nervous because it wasn't going away and it was getting worse. And so he went into the nurse's office at Bethel High School, and
now, I'm excited to introduce Jackie Crowley and her folks for the Vento program through the Bethel School District. So, round of applause and help me welcome Jackie up here today.
Well, first of all, thank you for taking an evening out of your lives to be here tonight. My name is Jay Brower, Director of Community Connections for the Bethel School District. This is my 11th year rather in this position, and basically what it does is it tries to unite the community and the schools. Try to see if we can understand the fact that if you want to have strong communities, you have to have strong schools. If you want to have strong schools, you have to have strong communities. Not everybody in the community is born into a situation where it's incredibly favorable. And I just want to tell a quick story about one of the young men that was kind of the case. So, not putting any blame on parents or anything, but he was in a situation some years ago where his parents were both addicted to drugs, meth at that point, and he just couldn't take it any longer. So what he did is he moved out of the house. He didn't have anywhere to move, so he got a cardboard box and he started living across the street from Bethel School District. Well, no one knew that, but what he would do is he would wait in the morning until the custodian would open up, and then he would go and stand, and the custodian would invite him to go in there, and would let him come in the warmth, and then he would get free breakfast, and he would get free lunch. And then he would stick around after school, do his homework, do what he could, and then when it was time that he had to leave, then he would go back and live in the cardboard box again. Well, this went on for a while, and we were not aware of that situation. So, after a while, he got a rash on his arm, and he wasn't really sure what it was, but maybe he was just kind of nervous because it wasn't going away and it was getting worse. And so he went into the nurse's office at Bethel High School, and while she was checking it out, then she started talking to him, and in the course of events it came out what was going on. Well, this young man wanted to get a good education. He wanted to have a quality of life, but he wasn't quite sure how to do that. So the superintendent heard about this, Tom Siegel, superintendent of Bethel Public Schools, and still is, some many years later. And so my predecessors and he started to talk that we had a couple of places that were going to be future sites for schools. And working with a group called Bethel Community Services, a grassroots coalition, realized that they actually could utilize these homes instead of like renting it out to one family in one house, a single family home, that we could actually set up so that these youth could live in homeless facilities. So Youth Resources was a name of the group, and that was how our first homeless facilities opened up in the Bethel School District as a result of this young man. In time, we opened up a second one. So at one point, we had 5 young men and 5 young women that were living in 2 separate homes. And because of the support they were given with a residential coordinator, specifically from the university, and others were helping them with job skills, and they were getting the help that they needed, we graduated 59 out of there between 05 and 12 at a rate that was higher. The graduation rate was higher than the state's graduation rate. And it's because of the support they received. So, by the way, this young man graduated with a 3.5 GPA. and went on to do great things in life. So it's important that you're here tonight, and we want to thank you so much. We want to thank Bud and his team for taking an interest in those who are born in less fortunate situations, or who were born in favorable situations, and then at some point in life, you take a left turn and something happens and you need assistance. A community is nothing more than making sure that we all take care of each other. And when we're up, we take care of people. And when we're down, we get the help we need. And I think this is a great demonstration of being here of just what that looks like. I have the great fortune to work with Jackie Crowley and Danielle Standford in the Community Connections Division or Department of the Bethel School District. And I can tell you they spend long and hard hours advocating for and helping every young man, young woman, every child to get their needs met. Sometimes nights and weekends. And so I have the utmost respect for them and for what they do each and every day for our youth and children. And they're going to tell you a little bit about that program and what that's like. But would you help me thank them for the great work that they do at this time?
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say Jay is a great boss. So we feel really lucky to work for Jay in the same office every day. And I am Jackie, and this is Danny. And I'm the liaison for McKinney-Vento. Danny's a specialist. And every day we talk to homeless families and homeless youth who experience a hardship, and that hardship leads to them losing the place that they live in. And then they scramble around when they lose their homes or their apartments, and they try to find a place to live. And that isn't easy, especially in Southwest County. There is a lack of affordable housing and a lack of shelters for these families. And so they'll ask families or friends if they can live there, or even for a short period of time. They live on the floor, they sleep on the couches, they sleep 2 and 3 to a bed. And it's a struggle, even with their living with family and friends, because once you put so many people into a home, it's always, they just are there to the next squabble, the next quarrel, or that the landlord finds out that there's too many people in the home, and then they have to move on. Or perhaps they don't have family or friends in the area, and there's no shelters to go to, and some people live in tents, some people live in campers, some people live in abandoned RVs, abandoned vehicles. We have people this year living in sheds, garden sheds, in the backyards of family and friends. And so many times they just have to go and live wherever they can find a place. And oftentimes they are not in their school area anymore. And so McKinney-Vento is a federal law that ensures that those children can stay in their home school regardless of where they're living. And Danny and I make sure that they have transportation to get to school. And that's the key to McKinney-Vento and the supports that we provide. Is we want them to stay in school. They have to have something permanent in their lives that they can hold on to as they're traveling from place to place. They have very few belongings with them. They develop food insecurities, and the plight of their family trickles down to these children, and it affects their learning. And Danny is not only a McKinney-Vento specialist, but she's been a teacher in the Bethel School District for 10 years, and I'd like her to speak to the impact homelessness has on the classroom for these children.
I'm Danny. As Jackie said, I was an elementary school teacher for 10 years prior to coming to this position. And so I really got to see firsthand the impact homelessness can have on kids and how it impacts them in the classroom setting. And so, I mean, it can really just impact them in a variety of ways. Like you were saying, the food insecurity was a huge one I noticed. I made sure I always had extra snacks on hand for those kiddos because we would want them to learn, obviously, but if they are concerned about where their meals get come from, they need to take care of that need first. And so it was really important as a teacher for me to recognize the needs of those students and how I could best support them. And so it was actually one student I had who was experiencing homelessness, who was who inspired me to take this new position because he was just a really special kid and made a big impact on me. So this position became available with the McKinney-Vento Program. I knew I needed to jump on that chance. So it's been really great getting to work in this program and help continue to support students.
Over the last 7 years, our number of homeless students has doubled. In the 2011-12 school year, we had about 350 students. Last year, we had 750. And this year, we've already qualified around 450 students, and that's an indicator for us that our numbers will exceed 750 this year. And so for these children, we want them to feel safe when they come to our schools, we want them to feel secure, and we want them to learn because we want them to have a better life. And in order to do that, they have to have an education. And there's so many supports that these children need. They need additional food, they need clothing, they need emergency places to stay, the parents need gas money. The list goes on, and so there are some things that we can do as a school district, and there are other things that we just don't have the funding for, and that's why we feel so grateful when community donates to us so that we can buy the additional things we need, and we feel so grateful to Buzz and to Quarters for Kids. And when you listen to a mom tell you, I had to sell blood plasma to get my kids to school. I just didn't know about McKinney-Vento, and so in order to have the gas money, I had to sell blood plasma, and we were living in our car. Or you hear the kids who are living on their own because there's been trouble in their home, as Jay talked about. Oftentimes it has to do with drugs in the home, and they just can't take it anymore, and so mostly high school kids, they jump from couch to couch to couch. And there are people that, they would like to keep them, but they don't have the extra money to feed them and to clothe them. And so additional funds lets us help those students. Maybe it's to buy extra groceries, to contribute to the household, to make sure that they have clothes, to make sure that they have shoes, to make sure they can participate in high school activities like every other student, because that's an important part of the education process. So every quarter helps one of these students and these families succeed in school. And so we just want to say thank you so much for being here tonight.
I just wanted to also add, you can see how incredible both Jackie and Danny are, and how fortunate so many families are that they work on their behalf every single day. We try really hard in the school district to do everything we can to support everyone. We would love it so that every single student had the needs met that enabled them to reach their potential so that they can go forward in life and do whatever they want to do, that they have that support to get there. A while ago, we actually were in a conversation, much like we're having here, although this is more of a stand and deliver, but much like we have right here, just concerned people coming together. And what we found out was that some of the social workers were saying that, we have a lot of isolated pockets in the Bethel School District. We have 3.5 miles of 202 square miles serviced by public transportation. 3.5 miles of 202. We have 117,000 people. We have over 20,000 students. We have 117,000 people that live within those 202 square miles. And we have one incorporated town, and that's Roy. And I think about 850. They probably count that on rodeo weekend, by the way. And so there's just, there's just not a lot of advocacy that goes on in a situation where we're talking. So in this community conversation, it came up that we should go out and try to serve people. So we actually took an old bus, had 25,000 miles on it, and converted it to be an outreach bus. We call it the Bethel Outreach Bus, or Bob for short. So Bob goes out into the community, and Jackie and Danny and others go out and reach the most isolated pockets. And if they have students in the school, that's great. If they don't have students in the school, that's great. We just want to go out and try to serve the community any way we can. So we'll take anything from the superintendent's wife who gets Dale Bakery items, and we take that out. And we take some things maybe from World Vision, or we take some other, different donations that we get. We take that out. We take books out. We take books, that maybe the school no longer needs. So we do everything we can to get out of these communities, but what really happens is people start talking. And then they start getting to know each other, and they start to see options, and they start to feel support, and they start to feel hope. And we've just had some really good luck going out and doing that. So there are several other things we try to do to reach out to those who really are kind of isolated and need us, because we know that homelessness is very real in the Bethel School District, as it is in other communities. And that sometimes when you're in an isolated community, you don't know where to go, you don't know where to turn. So, and now I'll just end it with the fact that the 2 homes that we have for homeless youth are not open right now, because the agency that was running that does not have, they didn't get another grant, they didn't get the funds necessary to do that. So we have 2 houses that are sitting not far from here, out in the Graham area. Which is just out here on 224th, going over by Graham House High School. And so we're still trying to find someone to kind of pick that up and take over so that we can get these youth back in, because we have youth that are living in cars, and they're living behind the Graham Library out there, and they're living lots of different places, and we just need to do what we can to help them. So again, thank you for caring. Thank you for being here. We really do appreciate it. Thank you again, Bud. Thank you for everyone that's here to support those experiencing homelessness. Thank you.
Donate today at quartersforkids.com or via the QR code on your screen.